Hey everyone, today we are gonna see what if Dean became the Keeper of Souls Part 2. Thanks for coming, Cass. Of course, the angel had zapped them from the woodland to their current hotel room. Are you certain Sam's soul is no longer in hell? You know demons lie. Dean glanced over at Sam, fully healed and rummaging through his tidy pack for a fresh unbloodied shirt. Of course I know demons lie. Everyone lies. Angels too. No offense, but on this, I don't think so. Dean scrubbed a hand back through his hair. So where else could it be? Cause, Cass, we got nothing. No leads. There's one resource. Castiel blinked out of sight, kicking up an unseen flutter of wings in his wake. That's just great, Dean muttered, turning toward Sam, but coming face to face with Castiel instead. He had a hold of the Angelchenedella Balthazar by the arm. You call this being even? Balthazar shook his arm out of Castiel's grasp. I'll owe you another favor. This is important, Castiel nearly growled. Balthazar's lips puckered. Oh, I like that. Sheriff of Heaven owing me. All right then. What did you need? I'm guessing it has to do with these two mucking up the title fight of the millennium. You know I had good money wagered on that. You were breaking my heart, Dean grouched. What were the odds? Sam drew near. Sam. Dean snapped. Sam shrugged. Just wondering. Castiel's lowered eyes jerked up. Balthazar, you've been dealing for souls to sell. Have you had any dealings to do with Sam Winchester's soul? Dean went very still, waiting for the angel to answer. Who, and several what's, hasn't offered me a deal to get it for them. Multiple parties are after Sam Winchester's bright and shiny. Why? Sam's head cocked. Balthazar stared at him. You really have no idea, do you? Think your soul's all tarnished and banged up, is it? That those souls who have only known good, made all the correct choices, worked at soup kitchens in their spare time would have more value. Were you someone who has screwed up time and time again, yet in the end, redeemed himself would have no worth? You monkeys have no comprehension of what makes something valuable. Compared to the soul of a redeemed man, those other souls are like the flame of a lit match next to the sun. I get requests daily for just one piece of your soul, and I'll tell you in truth, I'd barter for it in a heartbeat. Balthazar turned to Castiel. But I don't know where it is. Who's looking for it then? Castiel leaned into Balthazar's face. Names. Broker. Client privilege, old fella. Balthazar looked at the shine of his nails like he was bored. Castiel wasn't so easily put off. Names. Nah, you know I won't do that. My discretion is what keeps me in business. Besides, it doesn't matter. No one has it, not through me at any rate. And it's all kinds looking for it. Demons, witches, demigods, alphas, angels. No one knows where it is, which is rather odd, considering a soul that radiant couldn't just be bouncing around the world without throwing off a beacon like a radioactive lighthouse. It has to be contained somewhere. Hidden. Castiel frowned, making lines crease his forehead. So we find out who hid it. Dean zeroed in on the main point. He'd been following the angel's conversation with growing apprehension. It wasn't bad enough he'd been stuck with Wooden Boy as a sidekick, but all the usual fug lies were still after his brother's soul. Would the kid never catch a break? If it's throwing off such a large spark, there shouldn't be that many places to hide it. Narrow down the possibilities. That's exactly the problem. Castiel whirled away and started pacing. If hell didn't have the resources to contain it, there really can't be too many other possibilities. Heaven. Nope, not there. Balthazar was quick to answer. I've searched. Bet you have. Sam's voice went quiet. Then what about purgatory? No. Balthazar put his hand up. Just trust me on that one. Sam's eyes narrowed. You know where purgatory is. I know your soul isn't there, and that's all you are going to get. Balthazar looked to Castiel. One favor, brother. Focus on the problem at hand. Lips tight, Castiel nodded. Sam's soul would have to be contained in something that could hold it. Something its equal. So, Dean felt like a kindergartner trying to do calculus. Something large. Not necessarily. Cass's pacing slapped across the carpet. Equal as in likeness. It works the same way as trying to pour new wine into an old bottle. The bottle and wine have to age together or the bottle will shatter, ruining the wine. The container would have to be something that has also known evil, wrong choices, and redemption. Both Balthazar and Castiel turned to look at Dean. Dean shrank back, not liking the intensity of their stares. Has his personality changed at all? Balthazar stepped closer. He is more emotional. He cries a lot. Dean shifted back. Screw you. I do not. And gets angry. And that's not like him. Not to this degree, no. That's the usual. Cass flashed air quotes. More. Of Sam Winchester. Huh. Sam crossed his arms over his chest. Both angels moved into Dean's personal space. Balthazar grasped Dean's face, pulled his eyelid up the same way Cass had once done to Sam. How do you feel, right now? All kinds of creeped. He glanced back and forth between two sets of curious eyes. Oh come on, you think I have Sam's soul? It's possible. Balthazar twisted to look in Dean's ear. From what I've heard of these two, he'd be so accustomed to his brother, so attuned his entire life, he'd never feel it as a nagging alien inside him because their souls have always been interwoven. You're serious? As the angels moved closer to Dean, Sam stepped farther away. All of Castiel's focus seemed to pour into Dean. It should have occurred to me before. In a very literal sense, you have always been the keeper of Sam's soul. Once it was set adrift from hell, unable to find Sam's body, it would seek out what is familiar. I'm sorry, but it does make a strange sort of logic. No, it doesn't. Dean backed away until he felt the bed behind him. Don't you think if I had Sam's soul hitchhiking I'd know it? No, both angels said at once. One way to find out. Balthazar extended his hand and Dean jumped onto the bed and scrambled to the other side, snagging a pillow which he put in front of his chest as though that could hold off a determined angel. Dean. Castiel moved around the foot of the bed. These were the situations where he really missed his brother, because his Sammy wouldn't just stand there. His Sammy would be shouldering the angels aside or at least trying to reason with Dean with his full-on pleading eyes. Don't you want to know for sure? Which was the crux of it. He did want to know. Needed to know the same way his lungs needed oxygen. Fine. He threw down the pillow. But you do it, Cass. Don't need a stranger groping around inside all my outstanding wholesomeness. Here. Sam had taken off his belt, offered it to Dean. No sorry you have to go through this, I'll be here with you, just hang on. Dean just glanced at him and took the belt, placed it between his teeth, and a volcano erupted inside him. Way to give a guy warning. Cass. Holy crap, seeing Cass's arm disappear inside his stomach was one thing, but feeling the appendage actually moving around inside his innards was something else altogether. But it's what his brain decided to focus on because focusing on the pain traveling through his system organ by organ, bone to sinew, clenching his muscles, stealing his breath, was near agonizingly more than he could take. He sagged when Cass slid his hand out. At least Sam was there faster than the flow was, pulling him back to sit on the bed, even though his brother released him a mere second later. Dean pulled hard drafts of air back into his heaving lungs. At least wash your hands next time, would ya? Cass lifted his hands, turning them, a frown marring his forehead. My hands are always clean. Dean rolled his gaze toward the ceiling. His stomach hurt so bad he wanted to vomit. Well, Castiel glanced up at Sam. Sam's soul is inside you. Nestled up tight against yours. Shocked silence thrummed through the room. Dean felt his world slowly spin off its axis. Or maybe it was just him as he felt himself lean, swaying to the side. Sam's soul had been with him the entire time and he didn't know quite how to feel about that. Profoundly relieved or impossibly icked out. He shuddered, pushing the weirdness of it all away. Sam's soul was here, with him. Safe. It had been with him all along. So how do we get it out of me and back into Sam? We don't, Sam said, moving rapidly to the other bed where he started packing his belongings into his bag. Dean was on his feet in an instant. Come again. I don't want it. So what, you are just going to take off now? That's right. Sam grabbed his laptop, shoved it into its case. The only reason I was hunting with you was to get my soul back. Keep it from yanking me back to hell. Now that I know it's in a safe place, what's the point? I'm a better hunter without it. I'm a better hunter without you. A safe place, that's all I am. To you is a storage locker for your soul. Sam zipped his bag closed and shrugged. You are a cold-hearted bastard. Dean rounded the bed. I'm getting my brother back so you are taking your soul back if I have to shove it down your throat. Sam huffed. Actually huffed. Do I get a choice in this? No. Look. Sam let go of his bag and straightened to his full height. I didn't fight back last time because I needed your help. But now that I know where my soul is, I will fight you. Involuntarily, Dean's fists curled. I'm not letting you walk out the door. Sam shook his head. Dean, what does it matter? I'm better this way. Trust me. And my soul, it's not hurting you. You aren't experiencing my time in hell. You're not reliving that. You've heard it an entire year and you're fine. I don't see how this is a problem. Balthazar held out his palm. If neither of you want it, I'll be glad to take it off your hands. No, the brothers and Castiel all chimed out like a choir. Dean felt tears slip onto his cheek. Damn emo Sam's feelings bleeding out into his. Trust you, Dean barked. You can't even trust you. You have no perception to even try and make the right choice here, so I'm pulling rank on this one. No, Sam crossed his arms. You can't force this. Well, 2 angels and 1 pissed off older brother Trump, you're whining. Cass, how do we do this thing? Cass shrugged and looked to Balthazar, who also shrugged. I imagine I reach inside the 2 of you and act like a conduit. Friggin' awesome. 1 cavity violation an hour was more than enough. Alright, daylight's wasting. Cass's brows lowered. It's already night. It's an expression. Means get your move on. Not happening. Sam started backing away, his gaze darting to the door on the other side of the room, marking an escape route. Don't you have to have my permission or something? Cass stopped advancing. He may have a point. Added to that, we can't be sure what condition Sam may be in once reunited. Forcing it may make things worse. Doesn't matter. He'll never give his permission. Dean moved forward. We'll just have to hope that his soul has better reasoning power than his body. Stop. Sam made his move, swinging out at Dean, but Dean was ready for it and went low, diving to catch the younger man around the waist, crashing against the floor and wall. Sam didn't hold back, fighting with everything he had, and Dean wasn't sure he'd be able to hold him this time. Then Cass was there, pushing down against Sam's shoulders, holding him in place as easily as if Sam had all the strength of a 5-year-old. No, don't. Sam's face was red. The veins in his neck were bulging. It was the first unbridled emotion Dean had seen since he came back, until Castiel thrust his hand inside Sam's chest and the kid's head jerked back and his eyes nearly rolled up inside his head. Just like the seizure in the panic room, was Dean's last thought before Castiel's other hand plunged into Dean, ripping all thought away under a torrent of strangling pain. TBC, Part 3 coming soon.